think I'm good. No, that's good. You are. I'm one of the rare.
Where are you from?
I was born in Anaheim, so I'm one of the rare
Anaheim.
born here. All my friends and most people I know were transplanted at some point. You know, they didn't come. They weren't born here.
Yeah. Yeah, same man. Because like most of the people, it's rare to meet someone that's from California. All the people
right?
I've met,
Yeah,
that I'm acquainted with or work with, like especially in music, all from everywhere else. So it's cool to meet someone from here. Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends lives in Buena Park.
Yeah.
Like right down there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
do you go down there much anymore?
Yeah, because my parents live there.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
I don't live that far. I'm like in Long Beach area. Yeah, because my folks are down that way, so I hang out with them a lot. My dad's a drummer and stuff, so kind of relocated back that direction.
That's how it all started for you.
But for a long time, I was in Burbank and Glendale, and before that, like Eagle Rock. For 15 years, I was up this way.
Yeah. So, as your dad being a drummer, is that obviously what got you to start playing, or was he adamant about you playing drums, or he's like whatever you want to do?
No. Just more like the obviously you have an affinity for it, but the more the environment. You know, when I was little, he used to teach a lot at that point. So there was him and all these other maybe 18, 20, 15 to 20-year-old guys coming in, taking lessons from him on a regular basis when I was just born or like just 1.5 or 1 year old. So there was an environment of all these drummers coming in all the time. So I was just surrounded by drummers and then surrounded by really good music, really.
I was going to ask you, what kind of music was he into?
Yeah.
Or is he into?
Well, now he's a straight ahead jazz drummer now, but back then, I mean, the records that played that I remember, and I can, he still has the LPs. So every now and then I'll look at him and go, wow, my dad's got this killer collection of not just jazz, all kinds of stuff, but those things I remember playing at my house when I was really little, or like, I didn't really know what they were. Like, I called it like the cow song. Was like, Steely Dan, that.
The cow song,
yeah,
nice.
because that's some of the kid. Like Herbie Hancock, like the first James Taylor record, and of course jazz stuff too. But all these really great, like Minute by Minute by the Doobie Brothers, all this great music at that time was playing in the house, and I'd tap along with it and stuff like that. And there was drums too, because he taught drums, so there was pictures of me really young, sitting on the drums and tapping along.
Yeah. So you didn't have to hit pots and pans like most
No.
kids.
I did that too, but there was a little drum set. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to get the feel for the real thing, and there was a drum environment there. Always drummers coming in.
Yeah. Were some of those drummers, did they end up being huge drummers, or any that you know of? Or
well, there was one. They're all really good drummers.
Yeah.
There was one gentleman, Brian Zupnick, who was a great drummer and a friend who passed away, unfortunately, a long time ago. But he did well. He was like a studio drummer and played on TV shows and stuff like that. But he's like not a household name, but
yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
So you've been drumming for a while. What would you say? Because I know a little bit of your history, what you've been up to, but what would you say is like your niche, like your favorite, like what kind of genre do you feel you specialize in, or are you more of like whatever the client, whatever the band wants? Like, because I know you do lessons as well. You do remote session drumming. Got you up here. So, what do you feel like? Are you for the client, or do you like have your stamp on things? Like, what do you think?
Good question. Really good question. Well, I'm for the client, but I would like to think I'm pretty versatile, comfortable in most of the gigs that I take. I mean, to answer your question, anything that's out of my comfort zone, I would ask enough, and it's not someone I know, I would ask enough questions or listen to an example of it that I wouldn't.
Gotcha.
I would go, I'm probably not the right guy. Like like heavy metal, I'm like, you better call somebody else.
Yeah. Well, do you get those inquiries, stuff like that?
Very rarely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't do certain things, can't do everything,
Yeah.
But so I'm pretty adaptable. I mean, I like my wife was asking me, I just got married Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So recent. Congratulations.
So I have to get used to saying my wife. But, she was asking me, what's your favorite music? And I'm like, I don't really know. favorite anymore.
Yeah.
I have favorite bands and favorite records and stuff, but I don't have a favorite music particularly.
Favorite genre?
Not really.
That's great. Still playing with Lit Soul, right?
Yeah.
So like got that heavier rock, and then obviously with Robby Krieger, you know, that's completely different stuff. You seem very adaptable. To me, that's a great quality in any musician, more than just being extremely specialized in one thing, which I think is great too. Can relate to more musicians that are like, you know, like you said before, like adaptable for the client or for the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. I think that comes from liking lots of different things. First off, I mean, I like classic rock, obviously, but I grew up appreciating jazz. I like jazz. I like, you know, fusion jazz. I like a lot of different stuff, man. I love like Bill Withers, you know, is like my hero. R&B stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Police. I love Stuart Copeland. I love Helmet. Like,
okay.
I love Rage Against the Machine.
Yes, I love that. I love them. And they recorded here too.
Right.
The first album was here.
You know, Soundgarden. I mean, give me like everybody else around here. Everyone who doesn't love Soundgarden. So for me, it's being somewhat adaptable is pretty easy because I like different things. I've listened to it, and so I have a lot of you know, to be good at, especially recording for people, you got to have reference points. Like if you go on and record, and they say, hey, can you do like Ringo fills? Or you got to know what does that mean?
Exactly.
Does it mean anything if you've never listened to a lot of things?
Right.
Or can you play this like more like Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters or something? Okay, what does that mean? What are they kind of wanting? Or can you do, you know, the easy ones like Led Zeppelin, or can you do like a Stuart Copeland thing or whatever? You have to have reference points. That means you need to have listened to things and kind of somewhat gotten into what's behind it.
Oh yeah, just being a seasoned musician with
Yeah.
knowing a lot of history and listening to different stuff and knowing, you know, the discographies. And so, yeah, like when you say a Ringo fill, you need to know what that means. Like a Dave Grohl thing, you need to know what that means.
Exactly.
Yeah. So are you doing a lot of tracking drums and then sending off files for them?
I've done that lately. I have done that. I've had clients all over the place. I mean, I've had some clients in Australia, South America. I've done that for Europe. Remember here. Even, yeah, of course, U.S., but lately I've been recording at a studio that this guy's been hiring me at. I did doing this record for this band, and through that I met this guy that owns the studio in Orange, actually.
Okay.
Which is down Orange County, not, you know, maybe like 20 minutes from Disneyland. And he said, hey, man, I'm kind of looking for a drummer to work for with a lot of my clients. And then he started calling me.
Nice.
So I've been doing that. And he'll have a client come in and he'll send me you know, ahead of time, the tracks. And it's usually no drums, obviously, but just like a reference with a click. And sometimes there's acoustic guitar. Sometimes there's some electric and bass and vocals. And so I just kind of map it out.
Yeah.
With ideas I think will work. And then a lot of times you get in there and they have something different in mind. So I'll just do a little U-turn. Like I did that last week. I had an idea all worked out and then I went in there and the guy's like, no. Think like Foo Fighters. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you wanted it a lot bigger than I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I heard a version like pretty stripped down, you know, so you don't hear the full production like the guy wrote the songwriter has in his head.
So when you get it, when someone sends you a track ahead of time, do you like do you chart an idea out, or just kind of you listen to it and get it in your head? Then or I read on your site like you offer lessons and you teach reading and stuff. So I was curious if do you find yourself charting things out a lot still, or you just kind of go with the flow and, you know, kind of memorize it?
I chart out a lot. That's the way I prefer to do it.
Okay.
As far as your first question, the session, yeah, I write out the form, and then more than that, I'll write out, you know, the idea that I think is good to start with. And maybe, you know, the verse would have this part, the chorus could have this part. I try to, you know, not do the total obvious part. I try to do something a little more interesting. You know?
Of course, right? Because that's what they're hiring you for.
Right, exactly.
Your taste and feel on
right.
it. Nice.
So I'll have some ideas that I'll write out, and then, like I said, then usually there's always going to be, they have something else in mind, or my idea sparks something else for them to try.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
but I always write out the form, you know, so I always do that because I don't have time to memorize everything I'm doing. It's
yeah,
impossible.
that makes sense.
Impossible.
You know who this sparks my memory is? I'm sure you know who he is, but he does a similar thing because he has so many clients. But Kenny Arnoff,
of course,
dude, I used to like because he has a lot of interesting shit on YouTube. I went through a phase of just being obsessed with his workflow and stuff. So I just watched all this stuff on YouTube. But yeah, I really like the way he charts shit out, and he does, he writes it out, and like you just said, he can't memorize that much stuff. So he's just like got it down and he sight reads, and that's pretty rad.
That's very similar to what I do.
Awesome. What's the name of the studio that you've been working at?
That one's called For the Record, On the Record. I think it's For the Record.
Okay.
In Orange. It's a great studio too.
Cool. I'll check it out.
He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
His name's Eric, or E. And it's like a little interesting fact about him is I forget how many years, since the 80s, there hasn't been one day that he hasn't worked. He hasn't taken a day off. He told me doesn't take days off. I'm like, you work Christmas? Yeah, that's big money on Christmas.
What?
He tells me, I'm like, it is? Oh yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, because people will, you
can charge triple.
Well, people will have holidays off from work, and the Christmas night they want to go work. And
what?
He's like worked since, I think he said he hasn't had a day off since the late 80s.
Does he have a family?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Well, shit. Okay, I guess if you're single, then
that's his thing. I know. For me, it wouldn't work, man. But
there's a studio in Santa Ana. It's close to the convention center, so I think it's Santa Ana. But it's called Hybrid Studios.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Man,
I haven't been there. I've seen ads and stuff. Is it cool?
It's really cool. But yeah, I went there they throw these NAMM parties. And yeah, great rooms, like massive facility. They have like a sound stage. They do video and all that.
Wow.
But it's huge. But yeah, there's a couple engineer friends I know that have done sessions there, and I'll like, check out their social media and see what they're doing in there. But yeah, like they have a huge SSL room, great live room, acoustically treated extremely well. But yeah, that was when you mentioned OC, like I was thinking of that area. I don't know that many studios out there, to be honest.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's cool to hear. So I'll check it out. On the Record.
I think on the record or off the record. It's one of the two. Off or on. I can't remember.
Right now.
You'll find it. It's like on Collins. You see off the record on Collins Street. Yeah, been working there.
For the Record.
For the record.
No.
That could be it.
You're right. Off. No, it's Atlanta.
Is it For the Record? Maybe that's it. Yeah, I think it's For the Record. I think you're right. Yeah. On Collins Street in Orange. Yeah.
That's cool though. So yeah, have a consistent gig there for now. And how's do you bring your own kit or use a house
I do
kit?
bring my own kit there. I bring he likes the DW kit, so I'll bring that, and it's like one of those deals where you set up and then you're just like dicking around and it's ready. So it's not like for 40 minutes. It's it's great. Yeah. He has it all dialed in. Yeah.
Since you've been even in the studio for years doing different projects, are there any specific I always like to nerd out on audio stuff. So are there any specific like mic pre's that you prefer or mics on certain parts of the kit, or are you kind of just open to whatever the engineer wants?
I'm open. I mean, I know I'm not sure of all the technical stuff. I just know when I think something sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, just curious.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, like I know there's some drummers they're like, no, only this mic on this and only this preamp on this and then this. There's some drummers that they don't care as long as it sounds.
I don't care either.
They want. Yeah.
As long as it sounds good. I'll say it's I think the engineer and the ear is more important than the gear. I've been at some nice, couple nice places, and it doesn't sound as good as it should with the gear they're using. So it's the guy behind it.
Yeah, so true. Because man, I've heard some great records that they're done in. You would see the photos and be like, what? How did they get that amazing sound out of that studio with that kind of gear? But it's true. It's not about the gear. It's about the guy. First of all, as you know, it's about the song. It's about the performance. It's about the band. And it's about the engineer and who's capturing it. But and
the drummer
and
if you're speaking of drummers and obviously
just like just the raw performances of the song. What kind of kit are you using right now?
Well, I play DW drums, and most of the time I use that kit, but I also have an affinity. I like Gretsch drums too.
Okay, that's nice. So it's not exclusive DW?
Well, I'm a DW artist, but
okay.
I do have some Gretsch drums too that I like a lot. A couple of kits of Gretsch, and then snare drums. I have like 20 or so varying different snares. Some few Ludwigs, and you got the Black Beauty vibe.
I was gonna say, I love the Black Beauty.
Got that.
Oh man,
the Ludwig chrome, the 400, which is a superphonic, that too. That's the silver one that everybody sees. Have one of those. That's like a great snare drum. Some deeper wood ones.
I love
and
the
like
Black Beauty, man.
a couple little hip hoppy sounding ones.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any?
A couple clangy ones. Clang.
Any piccolos?
Yeah.
Nice.
A couple of those. Bunch of cymbals.
What are your preferred cymbals?
I played these Bosphorus cymbals for years. I like those. They're handmade cymbals, like Turkish cymbals. But that being said, there's lots of nice cymbals. I mean, Zildjians are always great. Pisces are nice and bright.
Do you like the
Bosphorus cymbals are great, man. Those sound really good.
So I haven't heard of this, so I'm curious about how you're liking these sticks, the Los Cabos.
Yeah, I just switched to those. Yeah, they're good.
Yeah?
They're good. Yeah, I like them.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
good.
what were you using before?
Vic Firth, which are good too. But I switched for not really. Vic Firth are very well made. I switched for just a relationship reason.
Gotcha.
Of the company.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So what's going on right now? I mean, are you still jamming with Lit Soul? Like,
I do. I've been doing that. I love Rob's. You know Rob, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Rob's a good buddy of mine. I mean, he was just at my wedding too. We're working on an EP, another record, with kind of producing. It's Bill Metoyer, who's cool.
Bill. Yeah.
Bill's awesome.
Yeah.
At that kind of stuff, man, he's got his thing and he's kick ass. I hear stuff when we've done stuff with him before, and he comes back and he has this thing of laying samples on the drums or whatever he does. It sounds perfect for that. It's killer.
Yeah, totally
kicks it.
Beefing it up.
Yeah,
man.
great.
Yeah, I've worked with him on a couple. Let's see, he did some engineering and tracking for a band that I worked with on their first EP, and that was cool. But yeah. And
cool
I've run into him a few times out and about, and he's always like super sweet and nice and
great.
Yeah,
yeah. So we play a bunch of gigs. Rob has been getting gigs at the Canyons and the Rose. They own all those places, so we've been playing those. That's cool because it's nicer, Yeah. It's a little different than playing some shithole bar, Yeah. So it's been nice. Get some opening slots and playing those places. The band sounds good, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked like a couple of years ago about doing some stuff. Like he wanted to do like a typo cover or something. This was a while ago. But yeah, so Lit Soul.
I still play with Robby.
Still playing with Robby.
Yeah, we not real regularly because he's a elderly. He's still doing great, but he's older. So we'll play a week here, a couple gigs here, a few gigs there, that kind of thing. No big, long, back-breaking touring kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sure you get a lot of questions about, working with him, and how has the process been, and how have you felt about it overall? And is it really, when you get in the room with him and you're jamming and rehearsing and playing these gigs, like, does it feel like you're playing with him like back in the day, or like how has this experience been for you?
Well, I first started playing with him in 2001, so I have a lot of history of playing music with him, So getting comfortable with playing with him and knowing what he likes from a drummer.
Yeah.
So when I first started playing with him, that was before I knew Ray at all, right? Mm-hmm. I started playing with him in his just the Robby Krieger solo band thing in 2001. And then that morphed into doing the Doors of the 21st Century with Ray Manzarek and Ian Astbury and all that other stuff that's since then. But playing with Robby, what were you asking me about playing with him again?
Yeah, just like, is it a dream for you? Like, or is it something that you just absolutely, enjoying that style of music? Like, how did you meet him, and how did the gig come about?
Yeah, there was a particular bass player who's a phenomenal bass player, my good buddy of mine who doesn't live in LA anymore, but there was a period of time where we were like the Batman and Robin, the team, I guess you could call it, like playing in all these different projects and recording. I would recommend him for stuff. He would recommend me for stuff. So he was playing with Robby first with a different drummer, and then Robby, there came a time where he wanted to change drummers. So he recommended me, this bass player, Angelo. And went down and played, got the gig. So that's how I got that in the door there, if it were as it is. And interestingly enough, before that, I wasn't that familiar with the Doors music. I'd heard a few tunes like Roadhouse Blues and Peace Frog and Riders on the Storm, The End, maybe like People Are Strange. But much more than that, I didn't know any of the album cuts. Wasn't really familiar with what they did live, anything. It was really interesting going from, I wasn't like a big fan.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. But I became one afterwards. Like when I got the gig with Robby, back then he gave me this, bag of like live Doors stuff. So then I started checking out going, oh shit, this is a whole different thing live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different. They take it, the very jazz, improvisational, exploratory mentality of taking a song and as a blueprint, but then from that it can go here and there. It doesn't have to be the same.
Yeah.
It's like, this is cool. Like Led Zeppelin would do.
Yeah. Have you ever, when you're jamming out live, have you ever just gotten in the zone and just like totally lost yourself in the music? Or are you just more like, you're enjoying it and playing the parts and just kind of getting in the zone? But like, have you ever had any gigs or any moments where you're just like completely like blissed out in the music? Yeah,
I would say more, I remember more of those moments with Ray and Robby.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't remember as much of that with Robby. For some reason, those are gigs are great too, but I don't feel as much of that with him. With Ray and Robby and like Ian, and even after Ian, there was some moments of that. And that's probably partly because, we're in some foreign land in front of a bunch of people that, and the audience becomes part of those shows,
Right. So
we'd play in front of sometimes really big audiences, and it could be some of those magic shows where it's like the Doors with Jim Morrison never played a lot of these places. They didn't ever go to South America. They never went to Russia. So we're playing this music for these people for like the first time that any version of the Doors was ever there, So you'd catch off. I think a lot of it was the energy of the crowd mixed in with our performance would, answer your question, would make some of those more, not tripped out, but more of the real, like, I don't know, we're taking you for a journey or something,
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we could just go on some of these, like every time we played When the Music's Over, that was always a journey. Every time we played that song, that would just take me somewhere, particularly the real epic tunes, those ones where you're going and you can get into the music and the crowd is freaking out and you're, playing in front of all these people who are super happy to have some of the Doors there,
of course,
playing music.
So, did you do any touring like that before you were playing with Robby? Like, did you go to those kind of places like Russia and South America before, or was that like your first time with them? Like doing tours like that? Well,
I did some touring, like U.S. touring in Canada and Mexico, but outside of that, until I got with Robby and Ray and Ian at first as well in 2003, that's when was the big Europe and a bunch of times in South America, Australia, Japan.
Wow. What a way to like have your first big tours experience with them. Yeah. That's amazing.
Staying in a nice hotel that ruins it after that. It's like, oh shit, I don't, other gigs you got to show our hotels and all that kind of stuff. These guys traveled very nicely because they're older cats. They're getting paid well. They like to live it a little nicer.
Yeah, of course.
Who doesn't like that?
Right.
So.
Wow. So are there plans? What's going on for the rest of the year? Like with live gigs? Like what's going on there? Are you playing with Robby this year?
I'm playing September. We're doing like, what is it? I don't know, 5 gigs or something, including the Whiskey on the September 28th. That's always fun because of the Doors history there.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. There's always like special guests, like Dennis Quaid will come and sing or something, So it's always somebody like that.
So that's September 28th. Wow.
And we're playing the East Coast before that. What else? I'm playing, God, what am I doing? Tomorrow I'm playing believe it or not, I'm doing this. It's really cool too. Oingo Boingo tribute band.
No way.
Which is some of the hardest music I've ever done.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
The album cuts that I wasn't familiar with. I was like, I'd heard like Dead Man's Party, you know, it's a dead man's, and that I'd heard a couple other ones like Only a Latch, but all the like the other stuff like Gray Matter and all this stuff I never heard. Wow, it's
a lot of syncopation and like odd meter and
well, excuse me, it's not odd meter. It's just a lot of stuff's not in 4. It's like 4, 6.
Okay,
there's nothing like with an there's nothing with an 8 on the bottom. No, they don't do any 8. There's no like 9/8 or stuff like that. Too much. Kate, no, but a little taste of it. But most of it, it's just because there's so much stuff that changes around. 4, 6, 3. Dude, the form is just like, you know, bars of 4 and 3 or 7, however you want to look at it. But super complicated. But kind of like Frank Zappa pop music or something. A little bit. So it's been really challenging doing that. I'm enjoying that.
Oh, man.
Playing that music's nuts. You know, it's like really cool.
Where's that gig tomorrow?
That's at the Pacific Amphitheater opening for the B-52s, believe it or not.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. Robby stuff. I went to Mexico recently and played. And I've done this a bunch of times. There's this Doors tribute band in Mexico that are my friends, and they bring me down there, and I'm like the special, you know, guest, and we do a show.
Nice.
Show or two.
Excellent.
People are really awesome. So we just did that. Yeah, this band called Dead Man's Party. This cool Doors. Blech. Not Doors. Oingo Boingo tribute band. Nice. Which is cool.
How long have you been playing with them?
That's pretty new. I've done that. Good question. That's pretty new. A couple months. You know. And I just did that because I was like, this is challenging. It's, you know, I'm honestly finding myself slightly bored a lot of times.
Yeah.
Because, you know, yeah, but, you know, so it's kind of, this will be cool. I'll have to get into this kind of, how would you describe the, you know, Oingo Boingo? It's like the same, I would put them in the same category as like Devo. Like that real, what do you call that? College, really smart college nerdy prog pop or something.
There's prog, there's like
prog pop
pop maybe. That's a good way to say it.
I was like, I like this. I'm gonna do this. This will be fun. You know.
Well, yeah, that's a great challenge, right? When you get to chart stuff out and like get crazy.
It was like learn. Okay, here's the show. You got to learn 23 songs, and most of them were very challenging.
Oh,
like,
wow!
Because like they change all over the place. It's like crazy, dude. The verse isn't the same way the second time around as the first. Like, oh shit, you can't fake it. You have to. I wrote out like 23 charts.
Do you have an iPad?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
And scan them into PDFs. 23
so
charts.
You're just like scrolling through.
Yeah, there's that part, and there's like the tempos. It's like, you know, they have the tempos this particular band does it, and the cues between, you know, run this song into that, and watch for this cue. It's super challenging, man.
What about do you have any, besides this steady studio gig, do you have any other projects you're working on, like any personal music or any other studio gigs that are gonna be keeping you busy for the rest of the year?
Good question. Well, not one thing. I mean, I'm doing lots of different things.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm doing.
Okay.
Because I'm, you know, at this particular moment, there's not one gig that handles all my bills on its own. So I have to do a smorgasbord, you know, a buffet of gigs, if you will, which is cool because it keeps it interesting. Like today, earlier today, I played with this just to go over his tunes. Believe it or not, man, this steel drum player who I met. Like pans, you know, like calypso.
Wow.
But it's like rock. We're playing like you know, Cure tunes and stuff like that, where he plays the melodies on the steel drum. Nice. He has like these pickups on it, and he's gonna like get a pedal board and put distortion on them and stuff. So messing around with that. Yeah. And tonight I'm gonna rehearse heavy metal.
Ooh.
And then tomorrow's Oingo Boingo, and then the weekend is gonna be Styx and Foreigner and Journey and this other band that I do. We do the 3, and then, you know, the week after that will be something else. It's
nice. Like, keeping the variety going. Yeah. So it's tonight with Lit Soul? Or
I'm rehearsing with them. Yeah, I'm rehearsing with them.
Nice. So you said you're doing a new recording with them, and what about shows with them? Any gigs coming up?
There's one on August 16th. What's the name of that place? Petey's Place, I think it's called. That little cool little place.
Been there.
For Rob, the singer's birthday. So, which will be awesome. I can't recall the other there's at least 2 other bands that he has playing. I don't remember who they are, but I think they're good. Yeah, I'm doing that. Teaching drum lessons here and there too. Yeah, it's always something, man. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Oh, I've been playing at the Viper Room. That's right. Most Sundays I've been doing that.
What's that night?
Well, a friend of mine, he has a Doors tribute band, Peace Frog, that he's playing there every Sunday. Well, sometimes I do his gig, but that's because there's some rotating drummers in that, different guys. But his wife, Melanie, has her own band, and she's been playing there every Sunday. Cosmic Eye, it's called, and it's kind of like she loves Nirvana. It's sort of like how do you explain this? Like Prague, if Hole was Prague.
Okay. I can imagine
it's
that.
Crazy. It's like,
okay,
it's good. I took the gig. Tony called me and said, "Hey man, my wife's looking for someone to play some drums. It's kind of like Hole and Nirvana. You want to do it?" I'm thinking, oh yeah, this will be no brainer. I probably won't have to listen to this once and that'll be it. Hole. Thinking that's straightforward, right? And she sends me this stuff. Yeah, it was far from straightforward. So that's been a very interesting challenge. It's kind of like very artsy, some elements of like those cool PJ Harvey records. Have you ever heard like Dry or Rid of Me or any of those PJ Harvey records? Like the trio with the bass, drums, and guitar. Like very interesting the way the forms change, and it's crazy, man. There's like feel changes in every song, like
some
tempo changes. Oh,
more charting for you.
It wasn't like a no-brainer. So,
like,
but I've done it a bunch of times now, and she's cool. Yeah. So I'm doing that a lot of times on Sundays.
Nice.
To add to all the other things I'm doing, it'll be like one day is that, the next day Doors, the next day a metal band, the next day Fleetwood Mac tribute gig, and the next day it's always different things.
You're living like exactly how you want, right? It's the ideal lifestyle.
Oh, it's exhausting, right? Man. When when you're in a touring gig, it's easier because you're kind of just for that period of time you're only doing those songs.
You can go on autopilot.
You're not having to change. You're not having to change all the parameters every time you do a different gig. It's like the parameters are totally different. This is like you got to play different. You get in the zone of that music, get in the zone of this personality you're playing with.
Yep.
All those different things. Wear the different clothes, whatever.
Yep.
So it's easier sometimes just to be on a tour with one thing and you don't have to think about it.
Exactly.
They put a piece of paper on the door telling you where to be and when you're going to leave and all that. So it's actually really hard juggling a lot of different things. It's exhausting, man, sometimes.
Yeah.
You can probably relate to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like you have to really, unless you're, one of the top in whatever you're specializing in, that's like you really have to diversify and spread out what your income streams and really just try and, survive. So it's great that you're able to do it with different bands and musicians that you enjoy playing with. And it's, even though it's challenging and exhausting, it's like you're still drumming, you're still living the dream.
Absolutely,
you're doing you're on your terms. So
but everybody I play with is cool people. I mean, that's one of my goals was I wanted, like, this is maybe the last few years, I want to, besides liking playing music, I want to be with people that are people I enjoy spending time with.
Yeah,
I want to be
absolutely.
with anyone that I don't want to. It's like I don't like, or it's like that whole thing. We've all done that where you play with someone you just want to leave.
Yep.
I don't want to do that anymore. I'm like, I want to just surround myself with energy that feels good to me.
Right. And not having to explain it. It's like either, because some people have had that kind of situation where it's like, you don't really know why it's not working, or like you can't really put your finger on it, but for some reason, like you said, maybe the energy isn't right, or for whatever reason. But yeah, totally, I'm in that same boat.
Oh yeah,
like
dude,
I'm just not interested in, wasting time on working on something just because, for whatever reason, if if I'm not into the music, or if, I'm not vibing well with the people involved, then it's like, what's the point?
Well, I've done that before. I did a particular gig for a really long time, and it was like the singer and the people that fronted the band were a couple. Like, that was like, I had to witness like this infighting and bickering.
Yeah.
That was an example of like, wow, that wasn't a fun hang anymore after so many years of that,
Yeah, no way.
Witnessing like the dysfunction of that, you know. And they could have, you know, it wasn't the kind of thing where they just did it at home. It was like brought it with them
everywhere.
Like,
yeah. Yikes. So if someone wants to hit you up and hire you to play on their track, to come into the studio for live, what's the best way for them to what's your preferred way for them to reach you? Is it maybe your website, Facebook? What's the best way?
Yeah, they can get me through, hey, there's the website, TyDennisDrums.com.
Okay.
Facebook works, but I don't know if you're not friends on Facebook, if the messages come through, you know.
Yeah, I think sometimes it goes to like
I've had that happen.
The spam.
I'll see it like 4 months later or something.
Yeah.
Facebook is good. I'm not really an Instagram dude. I have a page, but I'm really guilty of, I barely use it. I'm not into that. The picture thing isn't my trip.
Okay, so you prefer...
Yeah, they can go to my website.
TyDennisDrums.com.
Yeah, and there's...
Contact.
You can contact me there, and then I'll get that.
Okay.
Yeah, you can... Interested in drum tracks, I send them to people all over the place, you know. It works out pretty good. It's obviously not as good as being in the same room with somebody, but...
Right, but you're available for, like, in the studio if they're local, or you're down to shoot over some files.
Absolutely, or shoot the files, or... I give drum lessons too. I've been in person or Skype, FaceTime, whatever that works too.
Has anyone ever told you you look like Maynard a little bit? I was just because I was just watching the.
That's right. I didn't think about that till right now.
Really?
Did the new Tool record ever come out yet?
Well, I was just gonna say I was watching yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, the day before. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, I love that program.
And he doesn't really. I mean, he did one other interview. He did one other podcast with him, but he did one the other day, and he was talking about. It was like a big deal because he disclosed a bunch of information about the new Tool album.
He did.
Yeah, it's a good podcast. It's a good listen.
What's he say? When's it coming out? Can you say?
I forgot the date. I know pretty soon, but he didn't announce the name of the record, which is Fear Inoculum, I think.
I hope it's good. I really do.
Yeah, it's got a shitload of views already because, he's very, people, another thing he announced was that for this whole time, there hasn't been any Tool music on Spotify.
Right.
And he announced that they're just uploading everything. Like
only Spotify, not Apple Music?
I'm not sure if it's all platforms.
I'm an Apple Music guy, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Because Apple Music is more cool to pay a little fairer, royalty rate. So I felt like a little better about going with that. Spotify's better.
So here it is.
Oh no shit! I'll have to watch that. Man.
It has 1.2 million views already. But he was Fear Inoculum releases on August 30th. But yeah, anyway, I was like, hey, kind of reminded me of Maynard.
Wow, okay.
Do you like Tool?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a fanatic, but I like some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it what's the one record they did? I thought it was just really, for me, it was disappointing. 10,000 Days.
Okay. That was my favorite, but yeah.
Really? You like that one?
No, it wasn't my favorite.
Oh, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, but
I like that too, in the pot. Mm-hmm. The rest of it, I was like, oh, bummer, man.
This is the drumming on it, though.
Oh, he's great. He's fucking, he's fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in and checking out the space. And
I love the spot, man. Come record here, people.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's been a while, and it's good to see you and good to hear about everything that's going on.
Yep.
All right, Ty. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, dude. You too, man.